Brilliant.
12 minutes, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Okay, cheers. Thank you. Well, good afternoon. My name's Dan Horrex. I'm a Corporate Information Manager at Cambridgeshire County Council. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about open data and what we're doing about that at Cambridgeshire County Council. Just up the road from here, so you haven't had far to come. Open data, and I'm sure a couple of presenters already talked about open data, is around public bodies and especially Cambridgeshire County Council making open data open. It's around the transparency agenda as well, so central government dictating to us or suggesting what data we should be making open through transparency as well. We've made a vast amount of data already open through that transparency agenda, but also the Stephen Shakespeare's review was very much about opening up government data, about the benefits of that of government and business and citizens, and how that could boost the economy of the UK as well. So Cambridgeshire County Council Open Data, we do a lot of open data. We do a lot of open data certificates and schemas. I'm very much connected into the open data strategy about how we actually go about making data open, how we talk to different services about the data, because naturally, as with University of Cambridge, we've got a lot of data which could be opened. So a lot of data sets as well as which come from Cambridgeshire as well as from other places as well, around census, about community safety data, community data as well. And the whole essence of open data for Cambridgeshire as well is a great way of sharing data. It's making it open and not actually understanding that could be the best way of doing it. So open data culture, we've got classifications of different data, and I deal a lot with different types of data at Cambridgeshire. We have very much open, could have open data, we could have shared data, which is shared data with other organisations where we've got data sharing agreements with, and we've also got a fair amount of closed data, naturally personal data and confidential data. But then I've got a little slide here which shows, well, it comes up on the thing, the different spectrum of data which we have, which is out there, whether it's closed, whether it's shared, or whether it's open as well. And probably how I like to define the kind of the closed, the shared and the open is a bit like a traffic light system, like the closed internal use and for the customer, as well as shared data, which is around sharing with other organisations, and also open is open to all. But I think there's a kind of culture, and especially within Cambridgeshire, or maybe local authorities, where a lot of people believe that it is closed data, and maybe they get a bit hung up with certain things like the Data Protection Act or legislation, or we never made it open before, so why should we make it open now? And it's kind of extolling the benefits of making data open through that. Because ultimately, the Stephen Shakespeare in his review pointed out that data is owned by the citizens. They've paid for this data, and then we should be making it open as well. So I've been heavily involved in the open data strategy, which is very much connected into our digital ambition, which is our digital overall digital strategy about how we're going to be providing services at a cost-effective price and for our customers as well as our digital enabler about how we meet our different outcomes of the different services which our customers are after, as well as things like transparency. They need to be open and available data. There's certain data sets which we publish a lot. Say, for example, with spend data over £500, and occasionally we see some people using that as well. But it's also, the strategy mentions about releasing social and commercial value data as well, about providing raw data to businesses out there. Say, for example, that those businesses out there already, we know of apps being created and applications which are using this data as well as service transformation. So in the autumn statement yesterday, very much talked around cuts and less funding, and local government is going to be cut and less funding there. So we have to think about how we're transforming our services, how we should be using data in that way, could we use open data. And there's a lot around information management as well, around our core principles, around treating information and data as an asset and making that available where possible. So we work closely with our research colleagues and we've got a Cambridgeshire Insight, which is our open data portal, which has got a variety of different open data sets on there. So that's, for example, some of the data which we get is around warm homes. So we know that there's data out there around Cambridge about the age band of homes from the Valuation Office, which we've got data around Cambridgeshire and West Suffolk as well. And it's about certainly around those homes where potentially they might have solid walls. They might not be able to, might find it hard to keep them warm, especially without cavity walls. It's probably down to the age of the property as well. So actually, that exposing that data and then being able to look at that data as well as Freedom of Information Act requests as well. And my team does a lot with the different data which is requested by general public. Another example of a system which a kind of portal which has been piloted and we're working with European partners is something called Policy Compass. So Policy Compass is an online tool which will be able to put data into to look at actual trends across across the years and look at historical events and get out that kind of discussion of different areas which could be important in terms of policy. Because probably what we find, and as with a lot of institutions, is that policies are made upon knowledge and expertise, but sometimes they're not being made on actual data which is there. So we've got a project which is looking at actually our community, our Cambridgeshire Adult Learning Fund, which is looking at the achievements of different adult learners within the different regions of Cambridgeshire as well, and how we should be targeting different courses to those different learners as well. And my last slide is very much about how you could get involved, and maybe some of you have been to a data hack which has been happening, and we run those data hacks with other organisations as well. And recently, the end of last month, we had a data hack which looked at issues of kind of what can we do with this data? How can we use this data? Because it's all well and good putting data out there. It's actually getting a use for it. And also system testing around actual new developments. I said about Policy Compass there, and actually you can get involved in helping us drive forward these different systems and these different uses of open data as well. Thank you.
Very quick, so we do have time.
Yeah, we've
Cool.
caught up, which is a fantastic job. Well done. Are there any questions?
Question on community. Does the website Shape Your Space mean something to you?
So, shape your place.
Shape Your Place?
Yes.
So that was, as far as I understand it, somehow around associated with Cambridge Council, something where lots of data was provided and citizens could voice opinions also? And then the website just disappeared.
Yes.
And I thought it was a great pity for one to be still linked to it all over the place. But then I thought, there's all this information on there.
Yes.
Could it? And I guess it's a question of data. Where you put data. Maybe it shouldn't have been Shape Your Space. Maybe it should have been on the on the website that continuously already exists.
Yes.
And secondly, is there any way that to have this data, for example, reappear again?
Yeah.
And make sure that, I guess, in all of our fields, that the data which we're so carefully trying to make open, that it doesn't disappear again, and that we have the funding and so forth to maintain it.
Yeah.
Can I clip you?
Of course you
back
can.
on? There you go.
That's fine. Unfortunately, Shape Your Place was one of those things which was funded, and suddenly when the cuts come along and they looked at that and the actual functionality in terms of, it was a very good kind of website, but going on supporting that and actually the teams behind supporting that the funding was cut from there. So you're right around the data, and we are talking, looking to make that open where possible on our open data platform as well. But it's a shame when a website's there, it's being used, and then kind of the fund. I think this is kind of where we're trying to get at in terms of our digital ambition as a council. Is not to just think that we always have to provide an application to deliver something. It's actually working with others, or even just making the data open and just saying to people, just come and use our data and expose the data, and to visualize the data as well. So rather than expensive kind of application and needing to get servers and all that stuff, so that's kind of how we trying to change that way.
I wonder what balance you see between sort of civil society or citizens making use of the data and companies, because I'm considering getting into the home insulation market, given that you're providing me with a perfect data set of houses that might require a cold call from my company.
Yeah.
Do you see kind of, do you know who's using it? Do you manage to keep track of that? And what kind of balance do you see?
Yeah, we hear back about the different people who are using it. We certainly build up the different stories around the open data and how they're used. They are used by people who are very interested, individuals, but also by companies as well. And it's very much, we're kind of working with companies. There's something around the city deal, which is kind of a pot of money which was been given to a variety of different Cambridgeshire to kind of build up kind of Cambridgeshire, and we see very much data as part of that. So it's working with organisations as well as individuals as well. But they might have different needs for different data, but it's kind of, we're trying to get that interaction with different people as well.
All right, so thank you very much.
We've got one left.
Okay, sorry.
Yes.
How do you also get that balance right between companies and who's right for this?
A variety of different ways, but we also do a lot of it. Privacy impact assessments of looking at actually the privacy of actually, if we put this data open or make it open, then will that impact on people's privacy? And also just different assessments in terms of actually putting that data on there and actually then publishing. It's not a case of we just put it up there as well. We do kind of consider other areas as well.
Is that process itself open? Is that public? Documentation about what you do to that decision?
Yes, it probably is. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll take your name afterwards. Yeah, definitely.
Thank
Great,
you
thank
very
you.
much.
Cheers.